Hello! In this lesson, we will explain what Secure Email Gateway is and how it has evolved. Email was one of the first activities people did when the world went online in the 1990s. It took very little bandwidth because technology allowed for very little. It was also easy, fast, and didn't even cost a postage stamp. It was so easy and inexpensive that it became a means to get a message to many people at little or no cost. Some of those mass mailings came from legitimate businesses and were equivalent to advertising flyers sent by post. But other mass mailings were sent by more nefarious characters. This was the beginning of spam, the act of sending irrelevant and unsolicited messages on the internet to a large number of recipients. Individuals could send and receive messages with little verification or accountability. Therefore, they offered anonymity. Initially, people viewed spam more as a nuisance than a threat. But in 1996, America Online, AOL, coined the term phishing to describe the fraudulent practice of sending emails purporting to be from a reputable source in order to induce individuals to reveal personal information. For example, some of you may have been Prince Solomon of Abadodo, or another wily character who wanted to share their wealth with you. Other bad actors registered domain names that were strikingly close to the names of legitimate businesses or organizations, and masqueraded as that business in an email, coaxing you to click a link or an attachment that contained malware. The phishing technique relied on human naivety, carelessness, or distraction for it to work. One of the first responses from businesses was to educate employees about phishing tactics. However, while education may have reduced phishing exploits, it did not eliminate the threat. Something had to be done at the mail server and internet service provider (ISP) levels. In response, businesses installed spam filters on mail servers to stop spam and phishing emails. Spam filters rely on identifying specific words or patterns in the headers or bodies of messages. To use a simple example, the word cache is common to email spam. If an IT professional added the word cache to the spam filter on their company mail server, the filter would eliminate any email that contained that word. Internet service providers, ISPs, also deployed spam filters. In addition to filtering, ISPs turned to strengthening authentication methods. By the end of the first decade of the 21st century, ISPs began to implement the Sender Policy Framework (SPF), which slowly took shape during that decade, but wasn't proposed as a standard until 2014. SPF is an email authentication method that detects bogus sender addresses in emails. However, for every defensive measure implemented by legitimate businesses, organizations, and ISPs, the bad actors introduced a countermeasure that circumvented the latest defense. To return to our simple example, spammers could easily bypass our filtered word, cache, by rendering it as cache, C@SH, or some other variant. And while filters became more sophisticated in detecting spam patterns, they were too static and easy to outsmart. Spamming and phishing are just too lucrative for the bad actors to easily give up. In fact, the number of phishing attacks has grown enormously since the turn of the century. In 2004, 176 unique phishing attacks were recorded. By 2012, this number grew to 28,000. And no wonder. Phishing was lucrative. Between lost money and damages, the attacks caused a $500 million loss to businesses and individuals. More recently, during the first quarter of 2020, the Anti-Phishing Working Group, APWG, recorded 165,772 detected phishing sites. Better defense was needed. Secure email gateways arose to provide more rigorous defense. In addition to the spam filter, they added antivirus scanners, threat emulation, and sandboxing to detect malicious attachments and links in real time. Even if employee education and the spam filter failed, one of these other tools could detect and neutralize the threat. However, the number of false positives and the sheer volume of attacks overwhelmed the security teams, who became bogged down in manual remediation. Secure email gateways continue to evolve as threats evolve. Today, greater automation and machine learning are built into secure email gateways, which alleviates the demands placed on security operations centers. Data loss prevention (DLP) is also available to detect and stop the egress of sensitive data. In some cases, a secure email gateway is integrated with other network security devices, such as edge and segmentation firewall,